Naruto Uzumaki, the boisterous prankster with an insatiable appetite for ramen, dreamt not just of becoming Hokage. Strange visions plagued him, visions of a cursed spirit and a school dedicated to exorcisms. Was this a dark premonition of the Nine Tails' influence, or a glimpse into a forgotten past? The memories of Yuta Okkotsu, a powerful jujutsu sorcerer reborn in the heart of the ninja world.
On the day of the sealing, Minato was halfway done with the seal. Suddenly everybody felt malice coming from the baby. Everybody looked towards the infant to see a creature starting to form. Everybody got scared as they saw the creature fully formed into Rika. What is that monster? Hiruzen thought. Kushina was about to yell at Rika to get away from her son. She didn't get a chance. How dare you try to kill Yuta, Rika screamed before rushing towards the restrained Nine Tails. Rika tore the Nine Tails limb from limb until she decided to devour it. As Rika was busy eating the Nine Tails, she could feel all its emotions. Pain, hatred, sadness and anger. She felt no remorse and kept on devouring it. Father, why did you bring me into this cruel world? What did I do to deserve the suffering? Nine Tails thought sadly. After Rika finished devouring the Nine Tails, she returned to the child and vanished. Everyone was baffled by what happened. Minato and Hiruzen felt distraught because if the other nations learned of the death of the Nine Tails, they would attack the village. Knowing they were gonna die soon, Kushina and Minato said their final words to their son. Kushina looked at Hiruzen, who was standing outside the barrier she made. Promise me you will take care of him. Kushina. I promise. Hiruzen. Lord Hiruzen, make sure the other villages don't find out about the Nine Tails' fate. Minato. Hiruzen nodded. Afterwards they died. As Kushina died, her barrier came undone. Hiruzen went to pick up the child. As Hiruzen picked him up, he told the ninjas to never speak of what happened. Hiruzen didn't get a name from them but assumed that the boy's name was Yuta, since Rika had called him that. After placing Yuta at his home and leaving a shadow clone with him, Hiruzen called an emergency meeting. Hiruzen Sarutobi was feeling quite a plethora of emotions as he walked into the council room. Sorrow, because so many people died in the attack of the Nine Tails, especially the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, the fourth's wife, Kushina Uzumaki, and his own wife Bawako Sarutobi. Guilt, because he was unable to help those who died. Joy, because Minato and Kushina's son was delivered safely. Confusion concerning on how the Nine Tails managed to break out of the seal and appear in the middle of the village so suddenly with two seal masters watching the seal, even if one of them was going into labor at the time. Annoyance that he had to take the Hokage hat again, at least until he found someone better for the job. And he already swore to the Sage of the Six Paths that he would start looking in less than a week. All in all, being Hokage meant four things. Respect, command over Anbu, council meetings, and finally the bane of all Kage, daimyo, and clan heads everywhere, paperwork. And fear because of the absence of a Jinchuriki. However, he decided to bury all of these emotions as he sat down in the Hokage seat of the council room. The moment he sat, all eyes turned to him, totally ignoring the little blue bundle of towels in his hands. A flood of questions were launched directly at him, but the rising of his hand effectively silenced the room. Hiruzen pointed his hand at Shikaku Nara, who immediately stood and spoke, not showing his normal lazy attitude. We've lost nearly a third of our shinobi forces during the attack. The amount of Jonin deaths are overall low. However, our Chunin and Genin forces have been lowered. Academy was also destroyed. However, that can be rebuilt in a matter of days with enough manpower. Hiruzen looked up at the scared Nara and calmly said, I want a full report including numbers by this time tomorrow. Hi Hokage-sama, he responded. Hiruzen then turned his head to the Uchiha clan head Fugaku-san. During the attack, I noticed a distinct lack of Uchiha manpower. Hiruzen Fugaku responded, Hokage-sama, the majority of the Uchiha clan was concerned with evacuating civilians before entering the battle. When you look at Nara-san's report tomorrow, I am sure that you will find the names of 2 or 3 dozen Uchiha that died. As he spoke, there was the smallest hint of irritation in his voice, showing that he was not happy with his clan being questioned. It wasn't Hiruzen, but Danzo who responded first. But Fugaku Dono, wouldn't it be better to have your clan on the battlefield? Didn't Madara Uchiha prove that the Sharingan is capable of controlling Bijuu? That would be the case, Fugaku quickly countered, however that can only be done with the Mangekyo Sharingan, which none living in the clan have. I'll begin taking questions. Hiruzen. Many council heads raised their hands. Hiashi, you may go first. Hiashi Hyuga stood. Thank you Hokage-sama. Since you have retaken the position, are we to assume that the fourth has? Yes, he has, unfortunately. Hiruzen cut in, not allowing the Hyuga to finish. It is a bad turn of circumstance, but what is done. Next question. Yes, Danzo. What happened to the Nine Tails? Danzo got right to the point. I am aware that tailed beast can't truly be killed, so what happened? Hiruzen sent a small glare towards Danzo. He was hoping to avoid that subject entirely, but now that it's been put out, others will seek the answer as well. I am afraid I can't reveal the identity of the Jinchuriki. Minato made me promise not to reveal the identity of the Jinchuriki. Hiruzen lied. Danzo wasn't pleased with this and wanted to press on the subject, but he stopped as he felt the killing intent Hiruzen directed at him. After a while the meeting ended. Hiruzen felt tired when he got home. His face brightened up as he saw Yuta giggle. Sadly, I won't be able to spend much time with you, Yuta, Hiruzen thought. After Yuta's birth, he was adopted by Mikoto. Knowing that he wouldn't be able to raise Yuta, Hiruzen gave him to her. Before giving Yuta to Mikoto, he warned her that Yuta had the curse spirit protecting him. Fugaku wasn't welcoming of the boy. He wanted Mikoto to return the child. Mikoto refused, saying she wouldn't abandon her friend's son. When Fugaku heard that the boy was Minato's son, he changed his tone. Unlike his father, Itachi welcomed his new Itato with open arms. Time skip. The Uchiha family first met Rika when Yuta was 3. At first they were scared. Yuta told them she wouldn't harm them unless they tried to hurt him. Fugaku at first thought Yuta was the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. He was disappointed when that wasn't the case. After seeing Rika, Fugaku concluded that Yuta would become a great asset to the clan. Fugaku was proven right. At age 4, Yuta displayed great prowess in Kenjutsu. Any technique Fugaku showed him, he copied perfectly. Nighttime. The 5-year-old Yuta was walking through the streets alone. As he was walking, he sensed negative emotions. He enhanced himself with cursed energy before going after the source of the negative emotions. After a while of running, Yuta came across the source of the negative emotions. Yuta saw a suspicious individual. He was in a different uniform than the shinobi of his village, and his forehead protector was not of the leaf as well. Yuta immediately recognized the small form that was held in the man's left arm as the person he felt. He could still feel their fear even now. The man looked down on the small boy in front of him and snarled, "Out of my way, brat." Kumo ninja growled. Yuta was silent for a moment, too angry to even move his body. How dare this man try to kidnap an innocent child? The dark-skinned shinobi vaulted over the child in front of him, knowing that time was against him. He had no time to deal with someone who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He kept running, making decent distance, until he was stopped once more. Suddenly the boy flashed in front of him. He snarled and went to grab a kunai from his pouch to dispense with the nuisance. That's when he felt it fear. Rika Yuta. It was the most terrifying thing the seasoned Jonin had ever seen. For a moment, the Kumo nin wondered if he was hallucinating, but the malice he felt coming from Rika convinced him the monster was real. He stood still in fear. Yuta sensed someone approaching. The person he sensed was the Hyuga clan head. Yuta nodded at the man, and the older Hyuga wasted no time to leap forward and scoop his daughter in his arms. Once he leapt back out of the way, Yuta had no reason to wait anymore. In the back of his head he knew he was being watched. He could recognize Hokage Jiji's presence anywhere. The Hokage was accompanied by his Anbu. That didn't matter now though. All that mattered at this very moment was to rid the world of this disgusting man. He ordered Rika to kill the man. Rika tore the man to shreds. All the shinobi present were disturbed. It was a terrifying sight. After killing the man, Rika disappeared. Yuta stood from his prone form, letting his fist unclench as he did so. No one said a word, no one moved a muscle, and everyone tried to hold their breath. Silence reigned supreme in the now very large street as everyone just stared at the boy in disbelief. Everyone tensed as the boy moved forward towards the Hyuga clan head and heiress. When he was standing right next to the man, Yuta gave him a gentle and warm smile, already able to feel the man's gratitude and unafraid feelings. That made Yuta happy. Someone appreciated Rika's effort. "Is she okay, mister?" Yuta asked softly, his gentle smile never leaving his face. Hyuga Hiashi gave a smile himself, something not many were privileged to see ever, and nodded. "It would seem so. I have you to thank for that, boy," the Hyuga man replied, still holding his firstborn. "I am forever in your debt." Yuta shook his head. "I'm just glad she's okay." Hiashi nodded. "As am I." Hiruzen landed next to Yuta and gave the boy a stern look. "We need to talk, Yuta-kun," were the only words that left the aged Hokage's mouth before his body flickered away, taking the child with him. As Yuta sat in the chair across the Hokage in the man's office, he felt no fear. He already knew what the man was going to ask. And he was going to answer with a smile, because he wasn't ashamed of Rika. After the little chat Yuta and the Hokage had after he terminated the Kumo shinobi, the old Sarutobi had decided that it would be best if Yuta put his abilities to good use. That came in the form of joining the Anbu Black Ops. Flashback. Yuta could feel what the Hokage was feeling, anxiety. He had seen a boy of only 5 years annihilate with extreme prejudice the head ninja of Kumo. The man was the ambassador of peace for the cloud, and he was a strong jonin in his own right. The fact that Yuta could control a monster that had done away with the 9 tails made him very uneasy. Digi, I can feel what you're thinking, just ask. I'll tell you the truth, honest. Yuta finally broke the awkward silence in the Hokage's office. The poor man was pacing the very moment they appeared in the small room. How can you tell what I'm thinking? Hiruzen asked. When the Uchiha laughed, Lord Third felt like he was the child. I can't exactly hear your thoughts, Jiji, that's impossible. Yuta admitted. I have the ability to sense emotions. Yuta. Emotions, Hiruzen thought. Yuta explained further. When people are angry or afraid I can tell. The Hokage nodded, and the Mons. Hiruzen wasn't able to complete his sentence. He received a death glare from Yuta. I won't forgive anyone who insults Rika, even if it's you, Jiji Yuta. The atmosphere grew tense again. Hiruzen cleared his throat. What exactly is Rika? Hiruzen. Yuta stopped glaring. Can the others leave? Yuta. Hiruzen nodded and told the Anbu to leave for a moment. Yuta told him everything. Afterwards. So the girls is bound to him because of a curse he placed on her after death, Hiruzen thought. Hiruzen called back the Anbu. So what now, Jiji? Yuta. Hiruzen thought on it for a moment. What was he going to do with the boy? He wanted to train the boy, he knew he would become someone more powerful than even his father. Throwing him into the academy would be a shame, his talents would be wasted in that environment. What could he do? Hiruzen also feared that the Uchihas might try to misuse his powers for their own gain. An idea began to form. With a snap of his fingers, a man dressed in black clothing, grey armor, and a white face mask, a member of the Anbu, appeared from within the shadows. It wasn't a surprise to Yuta, having felt the man's presence the moment he arrived shortly after them. Inu, do you think you have room in yourself for one more? It was worded as a question, but it wasn't intended as one. When the god of shinobi spoke, you listened, no matter what you were asked of. Discreetly, of course, no one besides you will know his true identity, and only your team will know that he's even an Anbu. He added, never taking his eyes off of Yuta. Yuta could feel the man's reluctance, and was intrigued that it didn't come from fear of Rika or nor his age, but something else, something personal. It was if the man cared for him. After the split-second hesitation, the dog-styled masked nin saluted his Hokage, giving the aged warrior an affirmative, yes, sir, before turning his gaze to Yuta. It won't be easy, Inu began in a hard and firm voice. He then gave off the feeling of warmth and protectiveness, Kohai Jr. Yuta gave a warm smile and nodded. I'll do my best, Inu-senpai. And with that said, Yuta could already feel the great things he was going to do with Inu. It will be tough, Yuta-kun, but I believe you can do it. I think you will be able to protect Konoha better than anyone else. The Hokage said warmly, his smile showing his pride for his successor's child. Welcome to the Anbu Black Ops, Hiruzen said before giving him a fox mask. Welcome Kitsune Kohai. Inu. Wait. What? Then flashback. When Yuta got home he was scolded by Mikoto for staying out late. After Mikoto calmed down, Yuta told everyone about him becoming an Anbu. Fugaku was pleased by the news. Mikoto and Itachi were worried. Sasuke felt envious of his little brother. Mikoto wanted to protest this, but Fugaku told her that the Hokage's orders were absolute. Yuta was currently sprawled out on his rock-hard bed, having moved into the Anbu headquarters the day after he talked to the Hokage and Inu-senpai about joining the Anbu. Yuta had to stay there until he finished his training. Yuta wasn't all that thrilled about the idea, but now, after 5 months of the place, he didn't even notice anymore. Month 1. His training consisted of the usual required Anbu material, which included a whole lot of studying. Anbu had to have a certain level of knowledge in both foreign and domestic affairs. Month 2. Another huge section of his training consisted of learning other shinobi skills. Inu had told him that he needed not be able to fight without Rika. Inu, who was now more of his sensei than anything, first taught him how to climb trees. Without his hands. Yuta already knew the exercise. He didn't tell Inu that. It only took him 10 minutes to master tree climbing. Inu-senpai, after a long and detailed lesson on chakra and chakra control, explained to Yuta that it seemed that he had abnormally amazing chakra control. Such a level of precision was something apparently only Tsunade, who happened to be another Sanin he shared something with, could accomplish. Senju Tsunade was a thematical nin, and he was up to par with her when it came to control. After the tree walking exercise, Inu-senpai taught him to do the same thing, but on water. That too he already knew. It also only took 10 minutes to master. Deciding that he needed to throw more difficult things at the boy, he began teaching him the shunshin, body flicker, which also took him 10 minutes to master. This was starting to intrigue Inu. How was the boy able to learn so fast? He wondered just what were the boy's limits. Inu was impressed by the boy's maturity. He was able to speak like an adult, see things from an adult's point of view, and understand the adult world. So, how did he do it? Inu had never been one to believe that age brought wisdom. He had known a lot of unwise elderly people. He personally thought that experience brought wisdom, which was not the same thing. You could live your entire life ignorant if you were sheltered or reclusive. Obviously though, a 5-year-old, no matter how hard their life may be, did not have the required experience to be so wise in the ways of the world. Something else allowed him to be so mature. That something had to be his ability to sense emotions. If he could do that, then he had to have started understanding their feelings. Learning about love, hate, jealousy, greed, lust, joy, sorrow and everything in between must have been the strangest thing for someone so young. That was the only explanation Inu could come up with on how a mere child could comprehend the emotions that he was able to feel. It was impossible, but that just made it even more special. Month 3. Yuta was then taught shuriken jutsu. That didn't take long as he was already skilled in the art of shuriken jutsu. Month 4. The next thing Yuta had to learn was stealth. After a week he got the hang of it. Then it was kenjutsu training. After the first day Inu thought he had finally found something the kid wasn't good at. He realized how wrong he was a week later. The cut on his torso still stung from that. Month 5. As of late, Yuta learned a lot of ninjutsu, finding it to be his favorite. With his perfect chakra control, learning genjutsu was too easy, and his taijutsu was still developing. The Hokage and Inu began to teach him elemental ninjutsu. Yuta's affinities were wind and fire, which also was special. It was a rare thing to have more than one affinity. Hiruzen and Inu were shocked when they learned that Yuta had the ability to copy ninjutsu. They were more shocked that he could copy jutsu from other types that he didn't have an affinity for. It had been a whole year since he joined the Onbu, and Yuta had finally been cleared field ready. He was 6 now, and he was a certified member of the Onbu. He was nervous now though. Today was the day he met the rest of Captain Inu's team. He understood Inu's words when he said it would take the team a while to warm up to him. He was the youngest Onbu agent the elemental nations had ever seen. The others just needed to be positive that they could rely on him to watch their backs. They could. Inu had been extremely happy that he and the blonde were the same, patriots to the core, but still cared about the lives of their fellow citizen above all else. When Inu told him that those who abandoned the mission were considered trash, but those who abandoned their friends were worse than trash, Yuta loved the saying. The rate at which the raven-haired boy was able to learn and process, well, anything, was amazing. Inu didn't know of anything the boy couldn't do. Yuta took a deep breath. Here we go. He whispered, pushing through the double doors of Team Row's designated lounging area. He was immediately met with stares. There was a small boy in a standard Onbu uniform, and they didn't like where this was going. The Uchiha agent took in his surroundings for a moment. The room was of medium size. All there was were grey walls and 3 very large black couches. The couches were set up so that they were connected, and a long glass table was centered in the middle of them. "Ah, Kitsune Kohai, you made it." Inu called out over the palpable silence. "Come here, I'll introduce you to everyone." Yuta gulped, but obeyed nonetheless. "Yes sir." When the boy made it to his captain, Inu put a hand on his shoulder. "Everyone, I'd like you all to meet Kitsune. He's going to be assigned to Team Row for a while." No one said anything, but they didn't have to. Yuta could feel what they thought of him. "Great, we're stuck with some brat. What is the Hokage thinking? I hope we can work well together." Yuta bowed. Inu cleared his throat. "Right, well, let's report to Hokage-sama. I think it's about time for the newbie to take on his first mission." 2 months. It had been 2 months since he joined Team Row, and they still considered him a nuisance. Everyone except Tenzo. He was officially the team censor and not a frontliner, which is what he wanted to be, and the missions they carried out had little use for his abilities. He did spot an enemy ambush 2 weeks ago, but apparently that wasn't something that warranted much respect. Yuta was currently sprinting through the forests that occupied the border of the Land of Fire and the Land of Earth, with Fukurm Owl and Usagi Rabbit, the 2 who disliked him the most. Inu Taicho said that if he worked with them more that they would have to warm up to him sooner or later. Yuta highly doubted that but followed orders all the same. The 3 of them were doing a simple border patrol, making sure everyone stayed in their own countries. Simple enough, right? Nothing was ever simple. Yuta signaled to the 2, stopping their fast-paced travel. "What is it, kid?" Fukurm asked, annoyed that the boy was holding them up. "2 people are headed right for us." He signed an Onbu code. "They aren't friendly either." He took another second to analyze the incoming shinobi, trying to understand what it was he was feeling. Yuta had stern look on his face, causing his comrades to take defensive stances. What they heard in his voice made them wary. "Get out of here you 2, Yuta whispered. His tone was serious. The only female of the group, Usagi, spoke up. "Look kid, no matter how special you think you are, you can't just order your senpais around." She was giving off an annoyed emotion, Yuta could tell. "You're still just a brat." The boy sighed. Were these people ever going to show him respect? So far Inu and Tenzo were the only people to welcome him into the group. "Isagi-senpai, there are very powerful people on their way. Judging by the large amounts of chakra they have, they are most likely Jinchuriki," he informed them. Yuta's assumption was based on the fact that the chakra coming from the two enemies felt similar to Kurama. The Nine Tails didn't die that day. He's alive inside the space that's inside Rika's body. Yuta had a few interactions with the fox. Yuta and the others decided to investigate. Yuta could feel their fear of the two Jinchuriki. He tried to calm them. "Go. If I will handle them." He felt their disbelieving minds. "You're going to sacrifice yourself for us?" Futaro asked, shocked. It was no secret that both he and Usagi disliked Yuta, so why the hell was he doing this? "Why?" Yuta took his mask off and smiled at them, "Because we're comrades. If I abandoned you, I would be worse than trash." They recognized the words of Inu. The two felt conflicted. They wanted to help, but they knew fighting the two Jinchuriki would be suicidal. "Oh," he repeated, "you will only hold me back," Yuta said, releasing his curse energy. The two couldn't believe that someone so young could give off such a malicious feeling. He looked at them with a stern look. The two nodded and retreated. And with that, he turned around and took off in the direction of the fast-approaching ninja. Yuta was sacrificing himself for people who he didn't even really know. He just couldn't bring himself to care though. It had taken hours to regroup with Inu, Taicho and the rest of the squad, but when Usagi and Fukuro explained what had transpired earlier in their border patrol, they regretted it. Inu looked at them with disappointment. "You're worse than trash now. How could you just leave him to die like that?" The worst part about it was that he wasn't even yelling at them. He was speaking in a soft and very scary voice. Tenzo was also furious. They explained to him that it was Yuta's choice to sacrifice himself for them. Kakashi told them they should have stayed with Yuta despite his protest. And with that, Inu was gone, out to look for his wayward kohai. Tenzo followed him. Minutes after Usagi and Fukuro left, Yuta was ready to face the two Jinchuriki. Next day, Yuta wasn't sure why Team Ro felt so awestruck when he returned to the village the next morning. He's in tattered and scorched rags, a sure sign of battle. Even Usagi and Fukuro felt like they were relieved and happy. His face mask is nowhere to be seen. Yuta was disappointed. He let Rashi escape. Kakashi stored his observations away for after what was to come. Before he could think more on that line of thought, Fukuro and Usagi approached Yuta. The two approached him with a small bit of trepidation in their step. "We apologize for being worse than trash, Kitsune Kohai." They both shouted simultaneously, their heads lowered in a deep bow. "If you have it in you to forgive us, we promise to treat you with the respect you deserve," Usagi begged. "I would be proud to work alongside such an amazing comrade," Fukuro added. Yuta chuckled. "You guys look silly bowing your heads to an 6-year-old. Usagi and Fukuro raised their heads. "Of course I'd like to work with you." Here he spread his arm out, motioning to the rest of the members, "All of you, if that's okay." The smile on his soot-covered face was all the gathered members of Team Ro needed to break into cheers of approval. The kid was alright in their book. Yuta could feel it, all of the accepting hearts and minds of his team. It was almost too much to handle. Almost. "Kitsune, you need to be debriefed." Inu Taicho spoke above the yelling. "The Hokage needs to know what happened during the time you were MIA." The cheers died down, but the emotions still filled the air, and that was enough. Nodding to his captain, Yuta headed for the exit, intent on following the silver-haired man. Having heard the happenings that his newest operative explained in great detail about the death match he had with two people he was unfortunately familiar with, had the Lord Third Hokage nervous. Seeing the subsequent head of hand laid out on his desk, unsealed from the scroll, said operative put it in after he managed to defeat and kill the powerful man scared him further. What couldn't this boy accomplish? Yuta led the two Jinchuriki drew the Jinchuriki towards him by leaking his cursed energy. The two Jinchuriki followed him. When they were far enough, Yuta created a Curtain barrier around them. In a world where extraordinary powers clash, Yuta Okkotsu and his cursed spirit companion Rika found themselves facing their most formidable opponents yet. The Jinchuriki wielders of the 4 tails and 5 tails. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the Jinchuriki approached, their chakra radiating power that threatened to overwhelm even the strongest warrior. Rashi, the Jinchuriki of the 4 tails, emerged from the shadows with a fierce expression on his face. His control over lava and earth jutsu made him a formidable opponent, his eyes blazing with determination as he prepared to face off against Yuta and Rika. Beside him stood Han, the stoic Jinchuriki of the 5 tails, his mastery over steam and water jutsu, making him a force to be reckoned with. The battle that ensued was nothing short of epic, with Yuta and Rika unleashing a relentless barrage of attacks against their adversaries. Rika's cursed energy surged through the air, twisting and distorting reality as she fought with a fierce determination to protect Yuta at all costs. The ground quaked with the force of their clashes, sending shockwaves rippling through the landscape. Rashi and Han were no pushovers, however, their mastery over their tailed beasts giving them strength and resilience beyond compare. Rashi's lava streams threatened to engulf Yuta, while Han's steam jutsu created a suffocating haze that clouded Rika's vision. It was a battle of wills and strength, with each side refusing to back down in the face of overwhelming odds. Rashi and Han assumed their respective beast modes, ready to unleash their full power. But the defiant roar, Yuta tapped into a hidden well of power within himself, unleashing a blinding surge of cursed energy that enveloped the battlefield. Rika's form shifted and twisted, merging with Yuta in a dazzling display of power as their combined strength overwhelmed Rashi and Han. The two prepared tailed beast bombs. In a final, decisive blow, Yuta and Rika unleashed a devastating energy blast. The bombs and the blast clashed. In an attempt to overpower them, Yuta and Rika reinforced their blast with their cursed energy. Shortly after, Yuta's attack dwarfed the bombs, overpowering them. The attack that sent the Jinchuriki reeling, their bodies crashing to the ground in defeat. The dust cleared, revealing Yuta and Rika standing victorious. Rashi used what strength he had left to flee. Yuta acted quickly and decapitated Han. Yuta's journey within the Anbu continued as he embarked on numerous missions alongside his fellow operatives. 2 years later, as Yuta prepared to move on to a new team comprised of him, Itachi and Shisui, Team Ro decided to throw him a heartfelt goodbye party to show their appreciation for his time with them. The party took place in a cozy corner of their headquarters, adorned with colorful decorations and soft lighting. Inu took the lead in organizing the event, ensuring that everything was set up perfectly for Yuta's farewell. The rest of the team eagerly pitched in, excited to celebrate their time together. As Yuta entered the room, he was greeted with cheers and applause from his teammates. They had prepared a special banner that read "Goodbye Yuta. You'll be missed." And it hung proudly on the wall. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and camaraderie as everyone gathered around Yuta to express their gratitude and well wishes. They shared fond memories of their missions together, recalling the challenges they had overcome and the victories they had achieved as a team. Shisui, always the life of the party, entertained everyone with his witty jokes and playful antics. Isagi and Fukuro, who had once been skeptical of Yuta, now regarded him with genuine respect and admiration. They thanked him for his unwavering dedication and bravery on the battlefield. Even Tenzo, who often kept to himself, joined in the festivities, raising a toast to Yuta and wishing him success in his future endeavors. As the party continued into the night, laughter and smiles filled the air, creating memories that would last a lifetime. Though Yuta was sad to leave his teammates behind, he felt grateful for the bond they had shared and looked forward to the new adventures that awaited him with his new team. Weeks later, as the moon cast its light over the village hidden in the leaves, Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui gathered at the designated rendezvous point, their faces hidden behind Anbu masks. The mission briefing had been concise yet crucial. Infiltrate enemy territory, gather intelligence on their movements and plans, and return undetected. Yuta glanced at his teammates. With a nod from Shisui, the team set off into the shadows, their footsteps barely making a sound as they melted into the darkness. Their journey took them deep into enemy territory, navigating through dense forests and winding pathways with the precision of seasoned operatives. Yuta's keen senses proved invaluable, detecting subtle shifts in the air and faint whispers of enemy presence lurking nearby. As they approached the enemy encampment, Itachi signaled for caution, his Sharingan flickering to life in the darkness. With a silent exchange of glances, the team split up, each member tasked with gathering specific information while remaining undetected. Yuta moved with the grace of a shadow, his senses attuned to the slightest hint of danger. Using his ability to sense emotions, he navigated through the camp, blending seamlessly with the enemy ranks as he eavesdropped on conversations and observed their movements. Meanwhile, Itachi utilized his genjutsu prowess to infiltrate the enemy's inner circle, extracting valuable information from unsuspecting targets with a mere glance. Shisui, with his unmatched speed and agility, scouted the perimeter, mapping out the camp's defenses and identifying potential vulnerabilities. As the night wore on, the team regrouped at their designated rendezvous point, their minds brimming with valuable intelligence. Yuta relayed his findings, detailing enemy troop movements, supply routes, and strategic objectives. Itachi supplemented the information with classified documents stolen from enemy officers, while Shisui provided crucial insights into the camp's layout and defenses. With their mission accomplished, the team melted back into the shadows, leaving no trace of their presence behind. As they returned to the village hidden in the leaves under the cover of darkness, a sense of satisfaction washed over them, knowing that their efforts would contribute to the village's safety and security. Back at headquarters, they reported their findings to the Hokage, who commended them for their exemplary performance. Their success in gathering crucial intelligence would prove instrumental in formulating future strategies and safeguarding the village against potential threats. As dawn broke over the horizon, Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui retired to their quarters, their minds already racing with thoughts of their next mission. 2 days later. Under the night sky, Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui gathered once again, their mission clear. Eliminate a high-profile target posing a significant threat to the village hidden in the leaves. Clad in their Anbu uniforms and masks, they set out into the night, their steps silent as they moved with purpose through the shadows. Their target, a notorious criminal known for his ruthless tactics and formidable combat skills, he had eluded capture for far too long. With his influence spreading like a dark cloud over the region, it was imperative that he be neutralized before he could wreak further havoc on the village and its inhabitants. They made it to the hideout. Itachi, with his keen intellect and mastery of stealth, took point, his Sharingan eyes scanning the area for any sign of movement. Shisui, his partner in crime, readied his kunai, his eyes ablaze with determination as they crept closer to their target. Yuta boosted himself with cursed energy. With a silent nod to his teammates, they moved as one, their movements synchronized and precise as they closed in on their target. As they breached the perimeter of the hideout, they encountered fierce resistance from the target's loyal guards, each one a skilled warrior in their own right. But Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui were no ordinary shinobi. They were Anbu, the elite of the elite, trained to handle any threat with lethal efficiency. With a flurry of swift and deadly strikes, they dispatched the guards one by one, their movements fluid and precise as they pressed forward towards their objective. Yuta's cursed energy crackled in the air, a potent force that struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. Finally, they reached the inner sanctum of the hideout, where their target awaited, his sinister aura pulsing with malice. With a steely resolve, they confronted him head-on, engaging in a fierce battle that echoed through the corridors of the hideout. Yuta unleashed Rika, her cursed energy swirling around him like a tempest as he faced off against their adversary. Itachi's Sharingan blazed with crimson light, his genjutsu ensnaring their target in a web of illusions, while Shisui's speed and agility allowed him to strike with deadly precision. In the end, it was a combined effort, a symphony of skill and determination, that led to their victory. With a final blow, they incapacitated their target, rendering him powerless to resist as they carried out their mission to eliminate him once and for all. Back at headquarters, they reported their success to the Hokage, who commended them for their bravery and skill in carrying out such a dangerous mission. Their actions had dealt a significant blow to the enemy forces, ensuring the safety and security of the village. And as they retired to their quarters, weary yet victorious, Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui knew that their bond as teammates and comrades would only grow stronger with each mission they undertook together, forging them into an unstoppable force for the village hidden in the leaves. Few weeks later. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village hidden in the leaves, Shisui received urgent orders from the Hokage. A team of Konoha shinobi had gone missing during a reconnaissance mission deep in enemy territory, and it was up to him and his team to mount a rescue operation. With the fate of their comrades hanging in the balance, Shisui, Itachi, and Yuta wasted no time in springing into action. They gathered their gear, checked their supplies, and set out during the night. As they journeyed into enemy territory, navigating through dense forests and treacherous terrain, they encountered numerous obstacles along the way. Patrols of enemy shinobi lurked in the shadows, their presence a constant threat to the success of their mission. Yuta, drawing upon his mastery of cursed energy, scanned their surroundings for any sign of their missing comrades, his senses heightened by the urgency of their task. Itachi, with his keen intellect and sharp eyes, devised a strategy to evade detection and bypass enemy checkpoints, leading the team through hidden paths and secret trails. Meanwhile, Shisui, with his lightning-fast reflexes and uncanny intuition, kept a watchful eye on their surroundings, alerting the team to any potential dangers that lay ahead. Together, they moved as one, a well-oiled machine fueled by determination and camaraderie. As they neared the location where their missing comrades were last seen, they encountered fierce resistance from enemy forces, determined to stop their rescue mission. But Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui refused to back down. With a combination of stealth, strategy, and strength, they fought their way through wave after wave of enemy shinobi, their skills honed by years of training and experience. Each step brought them closer to their goal, the safety of their comrades driving them forward, despite the odds stacked against them. Finally, they reached the location where their missing comrades were being held captive, their spirits lifted by the sight of familiar faces amidst the chaos of battle. With a coordinated assault, they broke through the enemy defenses, freeing their comrades from their captivity and leading them to safety. As they made their way back to the village, their rescued comrades in tow, a sense of relief washed over Yuta, Itachi, and Shisui. Though the mission had been fraught with danger and uncertainty, they had emerged victorious, their bond as teammates stronger than ever before. Back at headquarters, they were hailed as heroes, their bravery and selflessness praised by the Hokage and their fellow shinobi. and as they rested and recuperated from their ordeal, they knew that they would always be ready to answer the call of duty, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. Yuta and his team given off a few weeks by the Hokage. During his free time, Yuta enjoyed spending quality time with his family and Shisui. Yuta relished the simple pleasure of sitting down together with his family for a hearty meal. Whether it's his mother Makoto's homemade dishes or the warmth of shared conversation and laughter, makes every dinner a special occasion. Yuta and Sasuke's interactions were a mix of envy and genuine affection. Despite Sasuke's envy towards his younger brother, he couldn't help but love him deeply. Yuta, being the younger sibling, often received more attention and praise from his father and others, which fueled Sasuke's envy. Sasuke couldn't understand why Yuta seemed to excel effortlessly in everything he did, while he struggled to keep up. Their interactions sometimes involved playful teasing from Yuta's side, which Sasuke would brush off with a scowl or a snide remark. But deep down, Sasuke admired his brother's talent and wished he could be more like him. Despite their occasional rivalry, Yuta always made an effort to include Sasuke in his activities and adventures. Whether it was training together in the backyard, playing games, or simply spending time together, Yuta cherished their bond as brothers. In return, Sasuke looked up to Yuta and secretly admired his brother's strength and determination. He knew that no matter what, Yuta would always be there for him, and that thought brought him comfort. Their relationship was complex, with moments of jealousy and competition, but underneath it all was a deep and unbreakable brotherly love. Few days later, Yuta and his team had received a mission. Their mission: to eliminate Mukai Hinata, a former Jonin and Anbu member turned traitor. Mukai's family split off from the Hyuga clan several generations before his birth. Many assumed this meant his bloodline was too diluted to possess the Byakugan, but Mukai did in fact have a Byakugan in his left eye. He preferred to keep this a secret from anyone he wasn't close with. As they approached Mukai's hiding spot, tension hung thick in the air, each member of the team acutely aware of the danger that lay ahead. Mukai was known for his formidable skills and cunning tactics, and they would need to stay sharp if they hoped to emerge victorious. With practiced precision, Itachi took the lead, his Sharingan activated as he scanned the area for any signs of their target. Shisui followed close behind, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Yuta decided to watch from afar. Suddenly, Mukai sprang into action, launching a surprise attack on Itachi with a disemboweling maneuver. But Itachi was quick to react, using a crow clone to take the blow and create an opening for Shisui to counter with a great fireball jutsu. The flames engulfed the area, but Mukai emerged unscathed, his gentle fist dispersing the fire with ease. Sensing an opportunity, he engaged Shisui in a fierce sparring match, his Byakugan allowing him to anticipate his opponent's moves with deadly accuracy. But Shisui was no ordinary opponent, and Mukai soon realized that he was being led into a trap. With a quick glance, he discreetly located Itachi's hiding spot, avoiding the trap that had been set for him. As Mukai closed in on Itachi, ready to strike with lethal precision, Shisui attempted to intervene. But Mukai was too quick, grabbing Shisui by the throat and cutting off his air supply. Itachi, despite the pain from Mukai's previous attack, refused to stand idly by. With his Sharingan blazing, he approached Mukai, intent on stopping him by any means necessary. But Mukai, confident in his abilities, warned Itachi that his genjutsu would have no effect. Shisui thought to himself. Will my Kodomatsukami also be ineffective? Shisui thought. Before Shisui could act, Yuta appeared with a slash aimed at Mukai's arm. Mukai quickly let go of Shisui and redirected Yuta's attack to Shisui. Yuta's blade stabbed Shisui, but the wound wasn't as serious. Mukai quickly distanced himself from the two. Mukai took a moment to express his disdain for the village's practices, particularly the use of young ninja like Yuta in high-stakes missions. It's appalling, he said, his gaze intensifying as he locked eyes with Yuta. You're what, barely a teenager? Thrust into the darkness of the Anbu, no less. Age isn't the measure of a ninja's ability or his duty, Yuta replied confidently, adjusting the grip on his weapon slightly. I'm here because I've proven myself capable, not because of my age. Mukai scoffed at this, shaking his head as he assumed a more defensive stance. Capable or not, it's a tragedy that the village exploits such young spirits, turning you into weapons before you've had the chance to live. You should be training, learning, not out here on the edge of life and death. Perhaps, Yuta conceded with a slight nod, but here I am, and here we stand. We both know what must be done, regardless of our views on the matter. But the final nod, Mukai's expression hardened. Yuta raised a hand, signaling for Shisui and Itachi to fall back. His voice, though firm, carried a note of resolve as he addressed his teammates. Itachi, Shisui, Yuta said, his tone unwavering behind his mask, I'll handle Mukai. Fall back. Shisui and Itachi nodded. Be careful, Itachi. Shisui and Itachi distanced themselves from the battlefield. The battle commenced as Yuta, wielding his katana charged with cursed energy, lunged towards Mukai. Mukai dodged his strikes, countering with a swift series of jabs aimed at Yuta's chakra points, seeking to disrupt his chakra network. Yuta, undeterred, tapped into his immense cursed energy reserves. As Mukai's palms came within inches of critical points, Yuta's reverse curse technique activated, healing any disruptions almost instantaneously. This cycle of attack and instantaneous recovery baffled Mukai, who had not anticipated such resilience. Mukai then employed his fire release, sending a stream of flame towards Yuta. Yuta countered with a blast of water release, the two elements colliding in a sizzling fog that blanketed the immediate area. Through the mist, Yuta's form flickered multiple times, utilizing the shadow clone jutsu. Mukai, realizing the trick, launched a fiery sweep that dispersed the clones in a burst of steam and smoke. As Shisui and Itachi observed the battle unfolding between Yuta and Mukai, a sense of awe enveloped them. They watched with keen interest, knowing full well the depth of Yuta's arsenal, especially with the formidable presence of Rika, his ultimate weapon. Mukai activated his Byakugan's full potential, the veins around his eyes bulging. He tracked down Yuta through the fog and launched the 8 trigram 16 palms, a barrage of precise strikes designed to shut down Yuta's chakra system. Each hit resonated with a chilling precision. Undeterred, Yuta healed himself and kept on fighting. As the fog cleared, Yuta utilized his sky manipulation technique, distorting the space around them. The atmosphere thickened, becoming almost tangible, forcing Mukai to slow his assault, puzzled by the sudden change in the battlefield. Seizing the moment, Yuta executed the thin ice breaker technique, striking the sky and sending a shockwave that shattered the ground beneath Mukai's feet, throwing him off balance. Mukai recovered swiftly, countering with his fire release, sending a wave of flames towards Yuta. In response, Yuta summoned a curtain to shield him. Yuta and Mukai met each other blow for blow, their clash a testament to their unwavering determination and skill. Mukai's mastery of the gentle fist style clashed against Yuta's versatile combat techniques, each strike echoing through the forest with resounding force. "It's time I ended this domain expansion. Authentic mutual love." Yuta said as made the hand signs for his domain. Authentic mutual love. The domain is a field of cross-like structures littered with countless katanas and encircled by ropes tied together in a fashion symbolic of love. Yuta can wield any of the katanas and activate copied techniques without any restrictions. A copied curse technique also serves as the sure hit effect of the domain. Yuta is unable to tell which ability will activate when he chooses a katana. In the heart of Yuta's domain, the air crackled with tension as Mukai attempted to halt Yuta's advance. With determination etched into his features, Yuta forged ahead, undeterred by Mukai's resistance. As Yuta reached for a blade within his domain, a surge of power coursed through him, activating the wood release technique he had copied from Tenzo. Wooden spikes erupted from the ground, converging towards Mukai with deadly intent. Mukai's eyes widened in shock as he realized he was unable to evade the onslaught of wooden projectiles. With a sickening thud, the spikes pierced through his defenses, leaving him wounded and vulnerable. Undeterred by Mukai's plight, Yuta seized another blade, channeling Sukuna's dismantle technique. With each strike, the air hummed with energy as Yuta unleashed a barrage of slashes, each one cutting deeper than the last. Mukai staggered under the relentless assault, his body bearing the brunt of Yuta's fury. Blood stained the ground as the onslaught continued, leaving Mukai teetering on the brink of death. Yuta stood victorious. Mukai lay battered and broken, his once formidable strength reduced to nothing more than a mere shadow of its former self. With a heavy sigh, Yuta surveyed the aftermath of the battle, his expression solemn yet resolute. The domain dissipated. Yuta sheathed his katana. As Mukai lay defeated, the only thing he could think of was what was going to happen to his family. Yuta restrained Mukai. He healed him using his reverse curse technique a little bit. The 3 Uchihas interrogated Mukai. He explained the reason for his betrayal. His son had become ill. Mukai struggled to afford his treatment. In order to make the needed money, he began spying on Konoha for Kirigakure. I hope you guys liked the story. If you did, click on any of the videos which are popping on the screen right now. I promise you'll love them too. If you like my videos, you can like and subscribe too. I'll see you on another amazing What If video, guys. Love you all, peace.